welcome to another edition of PaynePoints of Interest. I'm your host, Sarah Harbuck, and with me today is Michael Payne and a special guest, Megan Harbuck, my daughter. We're going to be talking about a common problem with most business owners, and this is a topic I brought up in a discussion earlier, and it is clients or customers who will send you emails or DMs between the hours of, say, 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., typically when a person is asleep or they're having personal time. And these customers or clients will sometimes expect an immediate response. So, case in point, an example I have is that over the years as a professional photographer, I would get a lot of emails, and a lot of the time they were sent to me in the middle of the night, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I would get another email at like 8 a.m. I just wanted to let you, I sent you an email, just wanted to let you know if you've, can you get back to me? And it's like, it hasn't even been 8 hours. My thing on my website says, expect a response within 24 hours. And so I'm curious about what your experiences have been and what is acceptable just as a general rule. Because my thought is 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. is a reasonable, most people sleep. I realize that there are people who have night shift jobs and they may be up and about and they're doing their business and emailing and what have you. But by and large, most people don't live that life. And I'm curious as to what other people think, because I tend to think that that's rude to message a business in the middle of the night and expect an immediate response.
Right. Well, first let me say, I want the audience to kind of know that at PaynePoints, we are absolutely 100% interested in including and mentoring where we can our youth, those coming up, and those family or otherwise, So I'm really glad to have Megan on because Megan is a new business owner, getting her feet wet in the idea of being in business and having to deal with these situations. And I have a wealth of experience in kind of managing this, but I am absolutely curious about with you being more of I'm a business-facing person. You're a consumer-facing person in your business, Full Moon Children. How have you run into the situation before?
Absolutely. So just last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and as a lot of people tend to do, I checked my phone and I had a message from somebody on my Instagram, and it was exactly as you said. It was after midnight, and she was asking if she could schedule an appointment for today, and I saw it, I read it, and I responded accordingly after 8 in the morning. Just because I may be awake doesn't mean I'm going to immediately reply to a client. Even if they're awake and I'm awake, that I don't want to sort of give that impression that I'm available at all hours of the night, even if I'm awake at that time. I have had a couple instances in which somebody has messaged me several times over the course of just a couple hours, like, hey, have you gotten my message? Like, when can you get me in? And I'll have to come back and say, I was unavailable. I was with clients. No, I can't get you in today, but I can get you in later. You have to approach that with a very respectful mindset. I think that it is certainly super rude to be like, hey, you need to respond to my message right now. That's not, I don't get where people seem to obtain this sort of entitlement. They're not entitled to my time.
Absolutely.
That's 100%. I mean, it's so difficult. In my business, I have specific clients who pay me a lot of money, and they don't expect me to answer them between 10 a.m. and now. There are certain rules to it. If the people at those clients, because I'm not just dealing with one person, I'm dealing with many. If they send me a message in relatively, reasonable hours, and they say, I have something urgent, I will absolutely jump on that within an hour.
Well, sure, and when you're working with deadlines a lot of the time, so it may be necessary sometimes to break your own rules. But by and large, there is no tarot card reading or photography emergency that they need
Right.
someone at 12 o'clock at night.
Agreed. And and the thing about my side of it is I'm very upfront with my clients. I'm available to you at all times. That doesn't mean I'm sitting there waiting for your call.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
of
I'm
course.
doing stuff. I get angry at my people that work with me unfairly because people don't work like I do, and I have to get over that. Right? However, okay, if you do not communicate to me that an issue is urgent, it's going to be a 4 to 8 hour response time.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
If you communicate to me that it is urgent, that immediately changes it to a 1 hour response time, and usually within 5 minutes to say, I'm looking at it, I'm here, let's do it.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
we're not slaves to our clients, and we want to give them the best experience possible, I think. But at the same time, I'm not at someone's beck and call at all hours of the day. Now, in addition to this particular topic, and this is always kind of just gets under my skin and just makes me like really aggravated, is people who will send me a message, email or DM on Facebook or Instagram, and as a photographer, they would send, "How much?" ? Not even a full sentence. And I'm just like, how much for what? I offer several services. Which service are you inquiring? I got to a point, and some may say, well, that's just not how you should handle this. I got to a point where I stopped actually responding to messages like that. If
Yeah.
you don't have the respect enough to talk to me like a human being and not some robot and type out a complete sentence, whenever I'm messaging someone about a question or a concern or an issue, I give them as much possible information as they're going to need to be able to help me later.
Right.
And I don't know, what do you guys think? Because I'm not going to answer an email that just says, "How much?" ?
I absolutely agree with
I
that.
don't do it. You gotta talk to me in full sentences.
I mean, I think your services are a little bit easier to respond that to right now, right? At the moment.
Yes,
right?
of
Because
course.
you have a kind of relatively small set number of services that you offer.
Just two,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
You know?
But
And
even still.
But I'm not discounting the rudeness of the whole thing, right? I really am not, right? I'm simply saying that if in this situation where, look, I have my pick of the litter on my side, right?
Yeah.
This is something we've actually struggled with in the tattoo shop. Very similar concepts.
Oh, all the time.
They don't have the pick of the litter.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you need what business you can get.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And so in that case, I think that the choice to respond is on you.
But even when I was the shop manager here at Black Spot, we would get these emails or messages, "How much for a tattoo?" Well, where are you getting it? How big is it going to be? Is it going to involve color? Is it, how
If I
how
have to see
detailed
your
is it?
junk, it's $300 more easy.
1,000. Katie and I always said, if you just to take off your pants is $1,000.
Love that.
So I feel like people, consumers, speak in complete sentences, give details, and because this most of these businesses don't run off of just an absolute. There's variances in terms of factors that dictate the price, especially here at the tattoo shop, where there is a set minimum, but there's so many factors that go into deciding what a tattoo is going to cost. Whereas my services for photography, I haven't had enough coffee today. There are some set pricings and set packages, and it's a little more definitive. But at the same time, when you just send me 2 words with a question mark, I don't know what you want, and I'm less inclined to bend over backwards to
Right.
help you
Oh,
when you
I
can't even
agree
help
with you.
yourself.
If I had someone on LinkedIn send me a message that just said how much, right? I would assume they're talking about my highest level thing that I do, and I'd be like,
For you, it's
Ah.
extra.
like, any communication past this message that I am sending you now will be billed accordingly at $350 an hour in 15-minute increments.
Wonderful.
And then if they respond, right? No, I'm not going to bill them that, right? But if I respond, I'm going to, I've got somebody who at least gets the fact that, look, they're actually interested. They're just terrible at forming words.
Right.
Which can be the case sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will message me for a tarot reading and say, "Hi, I'd like to schedule an appointment." and we'll figure out a day and a time, and they haven't asked the price. And it's not like my prices are listed publicly for view, so then I have to be the one to say, just so you know, I charge this much per this amount of time. And then I haven't so far had someone cancel because of that or reschedule to a different time. Most of the time people are like, oh yeah, I totally forgot to ask about the price. But I think that sometimes you have to speak a little bit more in plain English than you usually would.
Yeah, be really careful about how you word it so there's nothing that can be misinterpreted, and to give them information to help them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always, when you own a business, your first sense is to always be on. You know, I gotta be working all the time. And, you know, as someone who experienced burnout because of something like that, I tend to be more on the side of, you know, if my other boss, she contacts me after a certain point, I don't text her back until the next morning, because it's like, I want to get into a habit of from this time to this time, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about having to talk to the next person. I'm either sleeping or I'm like decompressing.
Right.
So I need that time. And I feel like so many small business owners have gone through the same things I've gone through with that, where you just feel like you have to answer that email even though it is 1 a.m. and you're awake, you might as well answer it. Training yourself to take that time, I think you'll be more effective in your business when you do take those little, even if it is just a 6-hour break every day when you sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I'll read stuff, but I got to the point where I'll make mental note that there was a message, right? But I won't even read it, because if I read something, that gets my anxiety if I'm not going back to sleep.
Yep.
And that's a problem.
Yep, same. So that's why I just like, you know, you've got to give yourself those cutoff times. And you can decide. For me, it's 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., you know? But you may have a different thing, and that's fine. I think you just have to decide that there is going to be a block of time at some point during your day where you are not always on for your client or your customer. So,
Right.
And maybe I'm wrong. So on that note, if you think that's not how you should operate a business, we'd like to hear your opinion. Give us your thoughts and comments on today's podcast on our website at PaynePoints.com, on Facebook and LinkedIn at PaynePoints, Instagram at Payne.points, and Twitter at PointsPayne. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys, and we'll catch you on the flip side.